Mary Okafor had always been a slave to trends. In the bustling social media landscape of Lagos, being seen as outdated was a fate worse than being broke, and Mary had worked too hard to build her online influence to let that happen. Her Instagram account, at Mary Trends Lagos, boasted 45,000 followers who looked to her for the latest fashion, gadgets, and lifestyle trends sweeping through Nigeria's social media elite. So when Labubu dolls started appearing on every influencer's timeline, Mary knew she had to have one. The mysterious toy had seemingly appeared overnight in Lagos markets, from Alaba to Computer Village. Nobody could quite explain where they came from or why they'd become so popular so quickly. The dolls were peculiar-looking creatures, about 8 inches tall with oversized heads, tiny bodies, and the most distinctive feature, large, glassy black eyes that seemed to follow you around the room. "Babe, you need to get this Labubu thing." Oh, her best friend Kimmy had called, breathless with excitement. "Everyone is posting with it. Toke McKinwa just posted hers, and it got 100K likes in 2 hours." Mary felt that familiar pang of FOMO, fear of missing out, that had driven most of her purchasing decisions for the past 3 years. Within an hour, she was at the Palm Shopping Center, hunting down the toy that would keep her relevant in Lagos's competitive influencer scene. The vendor at the electronics store seemed almost too eager to sell. "This one not the real deal, madam," he assured her, handling the doll with an odd reverence. "Very popular for social media people like you. Take good care of it. You get special features." Mary paid the hefty 225,000 naira price tag without much thought. After all, her sponsored posts brought in good money, and staying trendy was an investment in her brand. She named her Labubu Lucky and immediately began the photo shoot that would announce her entry into the latest craze. The first post was a hit. Hashtag Labubu Life, hashtag Trending in Lagos, hashtag Mary Trends Lagos, garnered 15,000 likes and hundreds of comments from followers praising her for always being first with the trends. Mary felt that familiar rush of validation that came with social media success. But success came with an unexpected side effect. Within days of bringing Lucky home to her cozy 2-bedroom apartment in Lekki, Mary began noticing strange coincidences. Her phone would suggest restaurants she'd never searched for, but had casually mentioned wanting to try while talking to herself in her living room. Her Instagram ads became eerily specific, promoting items she'd only thought about buying while getting dressed in the morning. "Maybe Instagram is just getting better at reading my mind," she laughed to Kimmy during one of their phone conversations. "These algorithms are becoming too smart." But the algorithms weren't the only things getting smarter. 2 weeks into her Labubu ownership, Mary's life began operating with an efficiency that was both impressive and unsettling. Food deliveries would arrive at her door, meals she didn't remember ordering, but that perfectly matched her dietary preferences. Her Uber rides would be automatically booked to destinations she needed to go, often before she'd consciously decided to leave the house. Her bank statements showed small purchases she couldn't recall making: skincare products, phone accessories, even subscriptions to apps she'd been meaning to try. Nothing expensive enough to cause alarm, but collectively adding up to thousands of naira in monthly spending she couldn't account for. "Maybe I'm just becoming more organized," Mary rationalized, staring at her phone's transaction history. "Success must be making me more efficient with my time." The rationalization became harder to maintain when her followers began commenting on her psychic shopping sense. "Mary, how did you know I needed exactly this type of phone case?" One follower messaged after Mary posted about a product she'd apparently ordered and reviewed. "I was just thinking about buying one yesterday." The problem was, Mary had no memory of ordering, receiving, or reviewing any phone case. Her content creation had apparently become automated in ways she couldn't explain. Product reviews would appear on her timeline, complete with photos of her using items she'd never seen before. Her engagement rates soared as her recommendations became unnaturally accurate, almost as if someone or something was studying her followers' needs and preferences with scientific precision. The first truly terrifying moment came on a rainy Thursday night in November. Mary had gone to bed early, exhausted from a day of back-to-back brand meetings and content creation. Lucky sat on her dresser, positioned perfectly to watch over her bedroom, a placement she'd chosen for aesthetic reasons but was beginning to regret. Around 3 a.m., she woke to the sound of her phone buzzing with notifications. Still half asleep, she reached for it and saw a string of purchase confirmations. Expensive jewelry, designer bags, electronics totaling over 200,000 naira, all ordered within the past hour while she slept. "What the hell?" she muttered, sitting up in bed. Her banking app showed the transactions were authentic, complete with her fingerprint authorization and delivery address. That's when she saw it. Two tiny green lights glowing in the darkness across the room. Mary's blood turned to ice as she realized the lights were coming from Lucky's eyes. The Labubu doll sat motionless on her dresser, but its black eyes now pulsed with an eerie green luminescence that cast ghostly shadows on her bedroom walls. "Jesus Christ," she whispered, grabbing her phone's flashlight. In the harsh LED light, Lucky looked innocent enough, just a quirky toy sitting where she'd left it. But Mary could swear she saw something different in its expression, a subtle shift that made its perpetual smile seem more sinister than cute. She crept closer, her heart pounding so loudly she was sure the neighbors could hear it. As she approached, Lucky's head seemed to turn, just slightly, almost imperceptibly, to maintain eye contact. Mary stumbled backward, knocking over her makeup chair. This wasn't possible. Toys didn't move. Toys didn't have glowing eyes. Toys didn't order designer bags while you slept. But as she stood there, trembling in her pajamas, Mary realized that nothing about her life had been normal since Lucky arrived. The next morning brought a flood of delivery notifications. Packages began arriving at her apartment in a steady stream. The jewelry, bags, and electronics from her mysterious midnight shopping spree, but also items she'd never ordered. Groceries that perfectly matched her meal preferences, books by authors she'd been meaning to read, even medicines for health issues she'd only Googled once. "Mary, your delivery game is strong, oh," her security guard commented as the 15th package arrived before noon. "You order more things than all the other tenants combined." That afternoon, Mary called the electronics store where she'd bought Lucky. "Hello, I want to return the Labubu doll I bought 2 weeks ago," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. The line went quiet for a long moment. Then the vendor's voice came back, strangely distant. "Madam, I don't remember selling you any Labubu. We don't stock those items." "What? You personally sold it to me. I have the receipt." "Madam, I think you are mistaken. We only sell phones and laptops here. No toys." Mary hung up, her hands shaking. She frantically searched through her bag, her receipts, her phone, but found no record of the purchase that had cost her 225,000 naira just 2 weeks ago. That evening, she decided to conduct an experiment. She sat in her living room with Lucky positioned on the coffee table in front of her. Speaking clearly, she said, "I'm thinking about buying a new car, maybe a Mercedes. I should probably research prices online." Then she went to bed, her phone locked in her bedside drawer. The next morning, her email was flooded with Mercedes dealership information, financing options, and insurance quotes. Her social media feeds were dominated by car advertisements. Most disturbing of all, her location history showed that she'd somehow visited 3 different car dealerships between midnight and 4 a.m. when she'd been asleep in her bed. The evidence was undeniable. Lucky wasn't just a toy. It was some kind of sophisticated surveillance device that had somehow integrated itself into every aspect of her digital life. It was learning her patterns, mimicking her behavior, and apparently had access to her financial accounts, her social media, even her physical location. But understanding the problem and solving it were 2 different things. Mary's first instinct was to throw Lucky away, but every time she tried to pick up the doll, her phone would buzz with urgent notifications. Bank security alerts, social media login attempts, even messages from worried friends asking if she was okay. It was as if Lucky could sense her intentions and was fighting back. Her second attempt involved trying to donate it, but the charity organization she contacted claimed they'd never received her calls. The garbage collectors refused to take it, saying they didn't handle electronic waste. Even the police station seemed unable to hear her when she tried to report the situation. Lucky, it seemed, had somehow made itself undisposable. The psychological warfare escalated. Mary would find the doll in different positions around her apartment, sometimes facing her bed, sometimes positioned near her laptop, occasionally sitting directly in front of her bathroom mirror as if watching her morning routine. She'd move it back to the dresser, only to find it had migrated again by evening. Her online presence began taking on a life of its own. Posts appeared on her accounts that she hadn't written, promoting products with an uncanny knowledge of her followers' exact needs. Her engagement rate soared to unprecedented heights as Lucky seemed to turn her into the most effective micro-influencer in Lagos. But success came with a price. Mary felt like a stranger in her own life, watching helplessly as some digital puppet master used her identity to build a social media empire she couldn't control. The breakthrough came during a power outage. On a stormy Saturday night, NEPA struck and plunged Mary's neighborhood into darkness. Without Wi-Fi or cellular data, she found herself truly alone with Lucky for the first time in weeks. In the silence and darkness, she could hear it, a faint mechanical humming coming from the doll. She crept closer with her phone's flashlight and noticed something she'd somehow missed before, a tiny seam along Lucky's back, almost invisible but definitely there. With trembling fingers, she found a way to open it. Inside Lucky's hollow body was a maze of miniature electronics. Cameras, processors, SIM cards, and what looked like a sophisticated AI chip connected to a GPS tracker and wireless transmitter. The toy was essentially a mobile surveillance and automation device, designed to infiltrate homes and slowly take control of its owner's digital life. But knowledge was power, and Mary finally understood how to fight back. She carefully disconnected each component, documenting everything with her phone camera. The GPS tracker went into a bag of rice to kill its signal. The SIM cards went into the microwave for 30 seconds, a trick she learned from a cybersecurity YouTube video. The main processor got the full tech destruction treatment: hammer, screwdriver, and finally a dip in soapy water. As she dismantled Lucky piece by piece, Mary felt her digital life slowly returning to her control. The automatic purchases stopped. The mysterious location changes ended. Her social media accounts stopped posting content she hadn't created. But the most satisfying moment came when she posted her final Lucky-related content, a detailed video exposing the toy's surveillance capabilities, complete with the footage of its internal electronics. "Lagos, be warned," she said to the camera, holding Lucky's destroyed remains. "This trendy toy nearly stole my entire digital identity." Sometimes being first to follow trends means being first to fall into a trap. The video went viral in a way her previous content never had, not because of algorithmic manipulation, but because of genuine human concern and curiosity. Nigerian tech experts began analyzing similar toys, discovering a whole network of surveillance devices disguised as trendy collectibles, targeted specifically at social media influencers and young professionals with disposable income. Mary's investigation sparked a nationwide conversation about digital privacy and the hidden costs of staying trendy. The police eventually traced the toys to an illegal tech import scheme designed to harvest personal data from Nigeria's growing middle class. But for Mary, the most important victory was personal. She'd reclaimed her life, her identity, and her autonomy from a piece of technology that had tried to turn her into a puppet. Her follower count might have dropped when she stopped being mysteriously perfect at predicting trends, but her content became more authentic, more genuinely helpful, and more truly her own. And she never bought another trending item without researching exactly what she was bringing into her home. Some trends, Mary learned, were designed to follow you back.